the song, never gonna do the same for you.
What's up, guys? It's Donna here.
And Holly.
And you're listening to Teaser Talk.
On switch, turn the song, never gonna do the same. You hit the on switch, turn the song, never gonna do the same for you. With these power lights.
What's going on, everyone? I am here with Frank Zummo from Sum 41. What's going on, Frank?
How are you? I'm just on tour. We just kicked off our U.S. tour, and we have a day off in St. Louis right now.
That is awesome. Yeah, so you guys just kicked it off, like you said. How's it going so far?
Really good. We kicked it off at the Louder Than Life Festival, which was incredible. Like, what a way to start a tour. It was it's like 30,000 people, and we just got to play with some rad bands, and it's just a really cool way to start. And then we've done 2 shows so far of our Order in Decline world tour, and it's been amazing. We're doing a really long set, and it's, we're promoting the new record, but we're also doing the 15th anniversary of Chuck. So it's a beast of a set. We have Chuck, we have the new record, we have, all the other songs through the career, and a whole new production, and it's just been really, really fun. It's going really well so far. And we're out on this tour until Halloween, and then we go to Canada and start up with The Offspring. We're doing 3 weeks with The Offspring in Canada, and then we come back to America to finish like the other cities that we haven't hit on America, and do a couple of radio shows and stuff like that.
That's awesome. So there's a lot going on, and I feel like as you, as an artist, progress and become more professional, you think of it more of like a business versus just a gig. So let's talk about like tour prep. What do you do to mentally and physically prepare for all that? Because, you're getting out of that routine, the day-to-day routines, and I know mentally and physically you guys will be tested. So how do you prepare for that?
It's a good question. I mean, it's, we had been off the road for a couple months, making a record. And we started up in March this cycle doing like festivals all around the world, and then like a small intimate club tour. So we kind of started like easing into it before a full-on tour, which was good just to get back into the routine, because it's crazy. You're off the road even for a week, and you do a show back, and it's just that it feels so different. It's just such a weird chemistry that your body has with just, the physical part of it and just even the mental and all that. But we had about 5 weeks off before this tour started, and I just really started like training and preparing, over that whole time, because it's a lot, especially just being a drummer. It's like being an athlete. So just the training that I was doing, with just running the set, drumming on my own, and all the physical and just the health routine, because it is a lot. We're playing almost 2 hours a night. So you really do have to have your shit together, and really plan it out. And, you kind of fall into, everyone's got their own routines, and like my whole thing is, I just try to be as physical, as healthy as possible, get enough rest, just really take care of myself and be in tune with my body. And the only hard part now is just having a family, and having, babies and stuff like that. That's the hard part, because we miss a lot, and it's just finding that balance of, making sure that you are FaceTiming multiple times a day, that you're not missing any of the, important moments. Like I literally was warming up, 2 days ago, watching my son in baseball practice. I watched his whole practice, and then I watched his game the next day, and, just being there, and he saw me on the phone, and he was stoked, because that's something that we were doing together, and I wasn't there, and I just wanted him to still feel like I was there. So it's just like, the family stuff is definitely the balance point. All of us pretty much have kids now, or about to have kids, and wives and fiancés and all that. So it's just like, balancing that. I don't go any more than 3 weeks without seeing the kids and my wife. We've figured that out. And that's the hard part. Now that once I started having a family, that was the hard part. The touring, all that. We get to do what we love to do, and the fans make the show really easy because the energy is just so insane. It makes what we're doing almost effortlessly because there's just the energy in the room and the vibe, but again, it's just about just taking care of yourself and just being really in tune with your body and, just being the best that you can to be able to put on that show that the fans deserve every night.
That's awesome. And I know like it's a shift of priorities. It goes from like you guys having fun to, okay, it's treating it like a business. It's doing it, for the fans, but then also like instead of going out that night or doing whatever, making sure you're rested so that you can connect FaceTime, so that you can do all that things. I love that. That's awesome. That's a great, like, I don't know. People think of the stereotypical rock stars, and then here you guys are like actually focusing on the top priorities so that you can enjoy both, the artist life as well as the family life. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, we've all had our fun and raged, and I feel like me personally, that chapter, I did it. It was the greatest. I had so much fun, and you're younger then, you can recover easier, or you just don't even think about it, and, I want to do this forever, so I need to make sure that happens and, take care of myself. I mean, yeah, we have fun and all that shit, it's so fun, and everyone, does their own thing and whatnot. I just chose to, move on from just the insane, part. And like, basically the way to like bookend this is like, I got to be a Motley Crue for 2 weeks, and I was in the fucking band that inspired me to do it. And I got to live that lifestyle, and it was everything you could think of and then some. And kind of after that, I was like, okay, I'm good. Like I did it. I fucking, everything you read about in the books and whatever, like I got to live this and be in this band for 2 weeks. Like I'm pretty good now. Like I'm good with just, not, it was a good kind of send off in a way,
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you watch their the movie The Dirt that was inspired through them?
I did. I obviously read the book, and I've read, the guys' own books, love them. And, they did a really good job with that, in the actors they got and everything. It was good. It was definitely cool. I know they were talking about it and working on it for so long, and it's just really awesome to see it happen for them. And, that was kind of like their final piece in their history. And it was really cool to watch them achieve that, and bring that book to life, because it's a hard thing.
It is. That's so awesome. So, you just mentioned earlier that you guys had dropped Order in Decline. Now, this is going to be your second album. Is that correct? Recording with the band?
Yeah, it's my second album in the band, and completely different experience, this time around, because the first time around, I literally got in the band and went in the studio and started making, 13 voices. And it was all new. It was all new. We were learning how you work together with a band that's been going for a long time, just mentioned Derek go through his recovery and all that stuff. It was a very intense, kind of frantic process, and it came out great. That the touring was incredible, on that cycle. This record was different because we the relationships and everything had grown so much, and we had grown so much as players together from touring so much that it was like just such a vibe. I mean, getting in the studio all together and doing rehearsals and writing sessions and making the record, like it was just such a really amazing experience. And like the songs were so down. And when I went in the studio to do drums, it's like I had done so much work with the band that I knew those songs like as well as, us playing Fat Lip every night. So we got to go in the studio for a week and do drums and really take time getting sounds and recording through, tape and doing all these amazing things to really focus on getting the most epic sound. And like the recording part was like, cool, let's do 3 takes and then let's geek out on sounds and drums and, all that kind of stuff. So it was just a really cool experience. And literally around this time last year is when I was doing drums, for the record, because we ended our cycle at Riot Fest in Chicago, and I went home, had a day off, and then went in the studio and did drums. Like we secretly, started that whole process in the studio. And it was like pretty much a year ago, almost to the date. And now to have, the record out and to be touring it, it's pretty awesome. Just the whole experience was really great in every way.
That's awesome. Well, you guys definitely knocked it out of the park with this album. It's amazing for sure.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your journey as a drummer. What influenced you to pick up the drumsticks?
So it's kind of like a two-part thing. My parents were in a band together, and my dad played drums. My mom sang in the apartment in New York that my parents had. The drums were set up in a room in the house, and my parents said when I was like either 2 or 3, I just walked away from the dinner table, and the next thing they heard was me playing drums. Like I just kind of found them and discovered them on my own, and then that was kind of it. My dad gave me that drum set, which I actually still have to this day, and I used it on some of the new Sum 41 record, which was like, talk about a full circle, amazing thing. That was it. He gave me his record collection, a pair of headphones, and said, have at it. And, that's kind of what started it for me. But when I was 5 years old, my parents took me to see Ozzy and Motley Crue in the arena in Long Island, New York. And when Motley came on stage and I was in like the nosebleed seats, Tommy Lee, like I was so captivated by him and how much he like made the drums and, stand out, and how much of a performer he was. I knew at that moment when I was 5 that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So that's kind of like the two things that literally locked it in for me, and, how I got my start.
That's amazing. So drumming was pretty much in your DNA, like before, like you literally that was the life you lived before you were probably potty trained. That's amazing.
Yeah. And my mom was on stage singing like up until I was born, so like I was on stage, and I think that really did play a big part into it. And like we, talk about full circle, when my wife was like, a couple days before our due date, for our first baby, we went to the Motley final, tour, and, she was there at the show, and the baby was just like, from all the vibrations, he was just like doing somersaults in her stomach. And it was just cool. Like we always try to have, when she was pregnant with our kids, like around music and all that. And then, my oldest son, he, on our last tour cycle, I mean, he was raised on that tour cycle. He was all over the world on that cycle, which is pretty amazing to have pictures of like, an infant in fucking Munich, Germany and stuff. It was pretty cool that, I've been able to do that, with my kids. And it's just funny, like my son, because he's, grown up with that, he thinks that's just like how it is. Like you go to a show, you get to be, side stage, you get to go play the drums at sound check and all that. And his favorite band's 21 Pilots. And I took him to see their show in LA at like maybe the beginning of the year or something like that, last fall. And in the middle of the show, he just starts crying. And I'm like, dude, what's the matter? And he's all, I want to go on stage and say hi to them. I want to play the drums. And I'm like, oh my God, he thinks that because that's what he does at daddy shows, you could do this at, shows. I'm like, that's just how he thinks. I'm like, no, bud, you can do that at daddy shows, but not this show, which is so funny that like, that's just how he thinks it is.
It's already ingrained in his head that like, that's normal. So possibility for him being a musician and what he could do with that is like literally limitless, because there's no already limiting beliefs that you as a parent has instilled in him. And that's incredible. I'm excited to see kind of that evolution of generation musicians come through.
Oh, we for sure have a band right now. Like with all the Sum 41 babies, we have a band for sure with all the kids. So, I mean, it's funny, when I got in the band, Cone was the only one that had a baby. And now it's like everyone has babies, stepkids, or about to have babies. So it's wild. The second album in with the band, there's just like a plethora of babies. It's awesome.
That is awesome. So with your son being kind of gravitating already toward the drums, are you going to teach him, or are you going to allow him to kind of be self-taught like you are? I'm down for really whatever naturally happens, or if he does want to sit down and learn, or if he'd be better off going to like a school of rock and learning from someone who isn't me. Like I'm down for whatever. Like my dad didn't teach me one thing because he was more of a hobby drummer and he was pretty much self-taught. I feel like he didn't want to teach me anything wrong, or, he didn't know well enough. So he kind of just let me discover, and then brought me to, I had lessons at a drum school. So yeah, I think whatever happens, like he now will just
he's got like miscellaneous drums in his room, and he'll just go on or ask me to put on a 21 Pilots song, and he'll just wail away along. I mean, he's definitely got rhythm, and the passion to be, and he might not be a drummer. He might be another musician or whatnot, but he definitely, I think, wants to be on stage, and he really likes that part of it. I mean, it's just from now, who knows? He could be a freaking heart surgeon for all we know, but it's, and I will support him no matter what he is, as long as he's passionate about what he chooses to, do, which is how my parents were with me.
That's awesome. So, it's now that you have a family and kids and you're thinking about legacy, I'm sure at this point in life, because it goes from, having fun and doing it for the fans to now you're thinking of other priorities like your family. What is your current way to document your legacy? Is it going to be like video, audio, text?
I mean, video is amazing because it's just, it's timeless, and it just shows like moments through your life and whatnot. But as far as like leaving a legacy or any of that kind of stuff, like the biggest thing my biggest thing is I want to, when we as artists have this spotlight and there's this many people, looking at you, at shows and on social media and whatnot, I like to use it as a positive thing and try to inspire the youth and all these upcoming, artists, whether they're, any kind of, even if they're just trying, they're whatever they're passionate about, basically. And I've been going all over the world with band shoes and SJC drums and doing these kind of workshops where they're motivational. I speak, I perform, we bring local drummers and bands, these upcoming, anywhere from kids to teenagers. We give them the stage, they perform, and then, I'll go talk. We'll do a whole Q&A, like break down the barriers, because, with Sum 41, we're on such a tight schedule. I don't get to have that interaction, so this is kind of like, let's hang, ask me any question, let's have one-on-one time, and then I'll jam with all the kids at the end. And it's been inspiring and motivating so many kids, and that's been like the greatest achievement in my life. And it's called Lulls to the Craft Tour, and I've done 3 of them now throughout America and China, and that to me is the greatest thing. Like, I would love to be remembered by, like, motivating, inspiring people. I had people like that in my life, and I'm trying to make events and places where kids can go and feel welcome and just have this environment. And I just think that's really important. And we as artists, like, I'd rather all the eyes on me, I'd rather use it for that than sit there and preach about what I think my politics are or this or that. Like, I'd rather use it for something super positive and inspiring, because the youth is the most important thing ever,
Yeah, absolutely. That's an amazing, like, I don't know, that I applaud you for that, for using and understanding the power of your platform and not using it for selfish purposes, but to turn around and really, instead of complaining and bitching about the problems of the world, but really going out there and changing the people who are going to be the world whenever they become adults. So that's amazing.
Totally. Thank you. Yeah, that's the goal.
I love it. So you've been a professional drummer, obviously, your whole entire life. And you've gone from doing it as a kid to even filling in for Tommy Lee. And now, obviously being a full-time member of a band. Does the mental and physical prep change between like a fill-in and then the full-time?
It's, it's all different. And, with a lot of the fill-in work that I've done, I got to work with, Scott Weiland and Gary Newman and Motley Crue and stuff. There was no rehearsal. These were tours that were happening. And, it was like, you got to show up and you got to play these songs like you've been on, playing with them for years, because those artists don't want to be, thrown for a loop, like what's going on back behind me, and take them out of their gig and their mindset. So, that was my goal coming into those situations, being like, I have to just make like I've been here the whole time and make them feel the support and all that. And, that's kind of like the reason why I was able to get all these gigs was like, I got a reputation within the industry of being like, you're in an emergency or you need a drummer last minute. Zummo will come in and nail this and, not have any issues. And that's something I worked really hard at. I mean, I spent my entire childhood in my parents' basement playing to my favorite records from front to back, learning all these different styles too, going to, drum school, like private drum school instead of traditional college and stuff. It's, something I worked really, really hard at. And then like to be in Sum 41, you're talking about learning a band's entire catalog, because we do deep cuts. We'll throw in a lot of shit, learning, how Derek is as a front man, to know his body language, to support him when we're doing all different kinds of, breakdowns and intros and outros and whatnot. And, replacing a key member. To be, big shoes to fill and stepping in. So there was a lot of, pressure. And you just got to come in and do your thing, not let the mental part ever mess with you, because the second it does, it's like you're done. It's just anything. It's not good. You have to, go in and just say, I'm going to be me. I'm going to do what I've practiced my whole life for, and just be yourself and be true. And the fans are going to, they're going to feel that. They're going to feel the realness. If you're going in there and fakeness and shit, you don't get far in that. People see right through that bullshit. So, it's been, that's part of my journey, everything. And, now even being, going on, I've been doing the last year, like a whole new like solo project. And that's been pretty amazing, from doing all that stuff with the kids and all the stuff that inspired me to just to, create music on my own and work with amazing artists, DJs, songwriters, producers, and work on, a whole like solo project. That's been so amazing. And even working with these DJs I've been working with, Keizo and Cruella, being in part of that whole world and being almost like a musical director for, Keizo and all that, that's been amazing too. And I love to challenge myself and do so many things, to just keep me on my toes and to play so many different styles and, and just drum, it's just who I am. And it's just incredible to be able to do this and at this capacity.
I love that. And I love how intentional you have been, from the get-go. Like you said, you didn't go to college, you go to professional drumming school. So outside of really being intentional with who you are as a professional and bringing up that integrity of your brand, of your personal brand, of your name, what insights would you give to other artists in regards to establishing those connections and networking so that you can get the opportunity to prove yourself to other people?
It's a great question. It's what I tell the kids, it's the same thing I tell the kids, because I always get asked that question, like, how could I, be up there? It's like, you just do it, and I'm proof of that. It's like, you set your goal, you set your path, and you don't stop until it happens, and just stay on that path, stay passionate about it, be true to it. And it's not about luck or this or that. It's going to happen, and it's like, you asked about social media. It's like, there's so many negatives to it, but use it for the positive place. You have a platform now to put yourself, whether you're an artist, that, a painter or a singer or whatever it may be, and you can put yourself on there, and you never know who's going to see it. And that's my advice is, everybody wants to put up content. It's like, anything you put up there, even though you want to get shit up every 5 minutes, make sure that it represents you to the best of your craft, because you never know who's going to be looking at it. There are musicians now getting bands and getting gigs in the biggest bands because of a video they put up on Instagram or YouTube. That's the new way to audition. I mean, I run Street Drum Courts, my percussion, company that I started 15 years ago. And like, our auditions now are, people send us on their phones. They'll shoot a video, or we'll go to their Instagram page or whatever and see what videos they put up, and we can tell right away if they have what it takes to be in the Street Drum Corps, So it's like, use it to your advantage. Always make sure it represents you to the best capacity, and just don't get wrapped up in the negativity of it. I'm a product of it too. I'll put up, something, and then you'll get haters and all these internet bully cowards. And it's like, you just have to look past that and not let that, ever bother you, because that's just these jealous people who sit at home miserable on their computers. And it's like, I challenge you to get up and do this and, make something, instead of sitting here being a coward and writing some shit, And those are the same people you'll see on the street that'll kiss your ass, but they would never say that to your face. It's just like the funny world that we live in now, the balance of all that shit. But it's like, use it as a positive thing and to your advantage to promote yourself, because it's a brilliant way. When I was coming up, we didn't have any of that, and it's like, I'm not even that old, and it's like how much technology has changed from when I was coming up. I had to go wait in the cattle call audition line. Now that barely happens anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a strange time that we live in, and I'm loving it, because it's funny, because I was thinking in my head, is like, I wanted to ask you regarding the changes that you've witnessed within the industry. You see it going from even like cassettes to CDs to MP3s.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's streaming. So what would you say as an artist to be aware of, so that you evolve as an artist and adapt to changes in technology to keep you relevant, versus becoming a dinosaur and just kind of dying off?
Yeah, I mean, embrace change. There's nothing wrong with that. It's all part of evolution, from the beginning of time to now. And the only thing is, just with that, just stay true to who you are and what you are and what you do. I think Sum 41 is a perfect example of that. We make music that comes out of us. If we don't sit around and have a meeting and talk about this record's going to be this sounding record, just what comes out, especially what Derek is feeling at that time, and it just all comes together, and we never know what it's going to be like, till the end. And like, it's in the scene that Sum 41, came from. A lot of those bands are just, going for super pop radio. Now everyone's just chasing that radio hit, and literally I don't think half the drummers even play on the records anymore. It's all just, they don't write their songs anymore. It's just, this whole thing. And we've gone the complete other path, and like, this record is one of the heaviest records this band's ever made, and it's like, it's just, that's what came out with us. It wasn't a talked about thing. It's not like we're going to make a heavy record. It's just, it happened that way. And it's pretty cool that the Chuck record is, before this, the heaviest record of Sum 41, and we're kind of touring both those records right now. So it's just a fucking heavy set, which I love, because I come from the heavy world. So it's just so fun drumming wise. But it's just evolve, but stay true to what you are, and don't fucking chase trends and whatever, because that shit comes and goes, and you don't want to fall victim to that. It's not very hard.
I think it's kind of human nature, right? And as children, we're taught to just by, within associations, to try to be the popular kid, or try to get the most likes, or try to whatever it is now that people aim for. And I feel like maybe that's why a lot of artists get so burnt out so quickly, is because they chase after that, and they forget their why, and they forget their purpose as to why they even started. What keeps you from being burnt out as an artist, from doing it for so long? It doesn't even register, because I get to do what I love, and am as passionate about it as when I first, picked up drumsticks. Music is me. I love music. The fact that I get to do it, and the fact that it can support a family, and that this has become a job, which is like hysterical to me. It's like a job, because it doesn't feel like a job, which is, I wish everybody, that's like my only, like, if I could have a wish for the world, I wish everybody could do what they really are passionate about, because so many people work to just support and do things they don't want to have to do, and never kind of pursue their dreams or whatever. And I wish everyone can do that, because I don't know what that's like, because I've done this forever, and somehow it's magically worked out that, like, it's been able to provide and put food on the table and all that. Like, wow, a bonus of it, because I don't know what anything else would be, because it's just my passion that I'm still, I feel like I've only just begun. Like, I'm still more passionate than ever, more inspired, trying to, the goal, I have so many more goals to achieve. But yeah. I literally love your mindset. I love the authenticity. I love how everything you do it with gratitude, it sounds like, and very intentional. And it's definitely translating through, not only just showing you as a great artist, but as a great person. So I applaud you as being the positivity in the music industry. So that's awesome.
Thank you. And I'm just really trying to, I'm just trying on this tour. I feel like I have a different, more clear, outlook. And I feel like, it's just, I'm trying to be way more present, just and in the moment, like just before this tour, like just the time I had with my family and with, people that I was training with and whatnot that really inspired me. I was just like, with, literally not being on your phone for, like I saw the greatest fucking quote the other day. Everyone said, what if social media shut down like the bank at 6:00 and you couldn't get on till 7 a.m. again? And I was like, yeah, you don't have to fucking be on it, for 24/7 and have these devices ruling us. Like, be present, be in the moment, and, do your work when you have to, allocate the time to it. But like, just, because we live in this, these machines are fucking ruling our lives. Like, yes, they're great for the technology aspects and how we can, do our banking and how it can track us at the gym and all this great, great shit. But it's like, I don't know, my outlook has changed, and I'm just trying to even engage our fans even more than ever, like engage and have that time and connect more. Even when I'm on stage, I'm just trying to look at, everybody could see and look them in the eye and smile at them and just connect with them. And, it's something I feel like just we all got a little lost with just because of just the overwhelming influx of social media and this and that and that. It's just like, I'm just trying to have a different outlook now. And it's been working incredible. Like, I just feel like a changed person, which is silly because it's like, it's the way we always used to be, but it's like, I don't know, I just encourage everybody to just try to be more fucking present, and enjoy life while we're here, because we live in a crazy fucking world right now and you never know what could happen anymore. It's crazy. So that's my only little tidbit.
I love it. And it's awesome that you're going through and sharing that message with people, because it seems so basic. It seems so elementary, but people get caught up in that. They try to fill that void that they have through likes or numbers or comments or whatever, instead of actually working on themselves. And don't get me wrong, social media is amazing, but I feel like we lose sight on utilizing it for our advantage. And, like you said, taking it as an opportunity to showcase you as professional or, aspiring artists, so that people like you could identify them and spot talent, utilizing it for being intentional, posting with purpose, and not just doing it to keep it in an algorithm or being it just to keep up a lifestyle that you're trying to display. I just love everything you're doing and the message that you're providing to all the youth. That's amazing. So before I let you go, what do you guys have in store for 2020?
Just touring. We're going to tour, full barrel through. We have to tour the world. So we're just, because we've only done festivals, in Japan, Australia, and Europe. And so, yeah, we got a lot of places to go to support this record and the Chuck anniversary. So we're just going to be touring, through 2020. And then, I'm going to be, trying to fit in some more of the Loyal to the Craft drum clinic tours, hopefully in between that time, and just doing my solo stuff. I'm going to be releasing more music in 2020, more solo shows. I literally was in the studio every day when I was home, working with so many amazing people on a bunch of music that I'm so excited about. So yeah, just more shows and touring between, the projects I'm involved in Sum 41, and I love it. So yeah, it's just beginning, which is crazy. And we got a long road ahead, which is awesome.
That's so awesome. And we'll definitely be on the lookout for all those tour announcements and all the things that you guys are doing. And I appreciate you taking the time today to share with us, and then be authentic and real. Definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Teaser Talk.
We look forward to seeing you next Teaser Talk Tuesday. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Teaser Talk. This way we can keep up with you guys until the next episode.